The Honourable Bob Namfer.
Mr President, I move private member's business item number 1696 standing in my name. Mr President, moving this motion, I must confess that it's been remiss of me for merely seeking to acknowledge the government's toll cap, because acknowledgement significantly downplays the minister's efforts to upend the Tollmania orthodoxy that has prevailed in New South Wales for over a decade. The short-term cost of living relief provided by the toll cap is important, but so too is the need for longer-term structural reform, which would not have occurred under the previous government. Indeed, if they'd had their way, more and more of Sydney's roads would have been tolled and sold. I'm reminded again of the damning and credible evidence of the former RTA CEO Paul Ford when he said, in relation to WestConnex, the final design was an attempt to maximise the value of the motorway when it was put out for sale, because it had a larger number of toll trips on it than some of the previous options. Talk about fattening the cow and selling it off. That captures perfectly the prevailing orthodoxy of the previous government when it came to building infrastructure and delivering basic services, taking the easy way out, palming off costs of the bill to motorists through tolls, and then most disgracefully, transferring the significant long-term profits from those roads to multinational corporations rather than taxpayers. So bad had the infatuation with tolling become that 13 of the nation's 21 toll roads are in Sydney alone. Toll roads that encircle the metropolitan area, that cut off our outer suburbs and impose a road tax on families who need to pay, and pay big, to lift the boom gates to enter their own city and their own CBD. This is not to mention the myth that was routinely perpetrated by former ministers that people would still have the choice of using a free public road at the same time that those roads were being routinely cannibalised in favour of tolled roads, all of which resulted in alternative routes becoming unviable. The bottom line, Mr President, is this: it has all been a dud deal for families, a dud deal for small businesses, and ultimately a dud deal for the government. And it came as absolutely no surprise to families in Western Sydney, in the Blue Mountains and the Central Coast to hear Professor Fells conclude that the toll network is broken and in need of serious reform. So, Mr President, I don't just acknowledge the $60 toll cap, but I also acknowledge the end of the dud orthodoxy that has got us to this point, and I praise the minister's efforts to disentangle tolling contracts that were left behind by the previous government. I'm particularly proud that Western Sydney residents are among the greatest beneficiaries of this immediate and important cost of living measure, as well as the longer-term reforms when they are made, because those residents have been disproportionately impacted by the former government's addiction to toll roads. And when you consider that after rent and mortgages, tolls are one of the highest household expenses to families, this renewed focus couldn't come soon enough. The government has allocated $520 million over 2 years to the toll cap to provide immediate financial relief to approximately 720,000 motorists. And hundreds of thousands of motorists have already accessed the scheme. But to date, there is approximately $120 million in unclaimed rebates. I pay tribute to the Treasurer for resisting the urge to transfer those funds into consolidated revenue, and for allowing the Minister to passionately plea for motorists to claim money that belongs to them. A plea I wholeheartedly endorse this evening, and one that I expect the opposition will also back in by wholeheartedly supporting this motion.